Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another show, for another episode of our TGT series, our Let's Talk Arsenal show, and specifically our first partnered Arsenal preview show in partnership with FansBet. So if you are wondering about our brand new partnership, we did a show a little bit earlier on today explaining everything about it. But effectively, this show and every single preview show so far going throughout the season, as long as we are and remaining partners, will be in partnership with FansBet. And there's lots of things that you can get involved with. And in particular is, of course, the reason why we are involved with them is their association with plenty of charities that we're going to be supporting throughout the season. We have chosen to partner ourselves with Sport in Mind, who are an amazing charity that do lots of work working with mental health and solving the issues people face with those using sport, which is great. But to get involved with the first offering from FansBet this week, all you need to do is the fact that we are obviously this season teaming up with FansBet and the fan-led sports betting company committed to supporting charities and causes which are important to fans. So do go check them out at fansbet.com and claim your bet 10 get 10 plus 50 free spins. Welcome offer. Terms and restrictions apply. Full details on site. 18 plus. Please do gamble responsibly and visit begambleaware.org for more info, and do also check out the FansBet responsible gambling tools. You'll also see we'll be contributing myself over on the FansBet site, talking a lot about football too, all things football, Premier League, and a lot more too. So make sure you get involved. But without further ado, let's crack on with today's show and introduce to you my guests and our members from the Discord server. First of all, it's Zamir. How you doing, mate? Are you well? Are you good?
I'm good, Tom. How are you?
Yes, very good, mate. Very good indeed. Also joined by King. How you doing, fella? You well?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm happy it's Friday. It's been a long week.
Yeah, it has indeed. But football is nearly upon us. And completing our lineup today, we're also joined by Sasha. How you doing, Sasha? You well?
Yep, I'm good. Great to be on the fourth time.
Yes, he's gradually racking up the appearances, keeping track of them. It's very monotonous like that. Loving it. Anyway, we're here to talk about Arsenal's game against Norwich on Saturday, in which Arsenal have a chance to basically kickstart their season. Zamir, we'll start with you. How are you feeling ahead of the game?
I'm feeling all right, Tom. I think the international break was a welcome break from Arsenal, and probably from a fan perspective, it gives you a chance to cool down from how we started the season, the transfer window, however you feel about it, everything. At least from a personal standpoint, from a fan standpoint, it's good to kind of get those 2 weeks in between, and now we go again, and now there's no excuses. We have our players, we have our coach is staying. He's not going anywhere. Sorry, our manager. And now they have to produce on the pitch. So I'm excited. Let's get this season underway. Hopefully score some goals, get some points, and work our way up the table.
Are you positive, King, about the possibilities of what Zamir's saying there? Are you expecting us to be able to kind of push up the table with this result today?
Yeah, I mean, for me now, there's no excuses anymore. A lot of the players are back. He had the break. He's had the time now to shape up his tactics, to do some analysis, go back, look what he's done wrong, and hopefully we can kickstart against Norwich and see some goals. I mean, we all just want Arsenal to play well and try to win games. So let's see if we can do that.
Sasha, do you have the confidence in Arteta to make the right decisions? We're going to talk a lot about, obviously, our own predictions for our lineups, but do you have the faith that Arteta will choose the right team?
I feel like with the situation going on, you're just going to have to keep faith. I mean, he's not going anywhere, so we might as well keep faith instead of being negative all the time. So I'm hoping he turns it around, and I'm hoping
Oh, Sasha, you just cut out for a second. Are you back? Are you there? Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, keep going. You cut out for a second. Keep going.
Yeah, I said I hope Arteta can turn it around. I hope he stops his arrogance, maybe see where he went wrong, and we'll see later on when we do the lineups. I hope he can, yeah, just adjust.
Adjust is the words. And I think there's lots of adjustments, Zamir, that we've got to make, because plenty of players are going to be coming available that weren't available to Arteta at the start of the season. Of course, Thomas Partey's back in training, as is Ben White, Gabriel Magalhaes as well. And Takahiro Tomiyasu has joined up with the team. Emil Smith-Rowe has returned from his illness, has been spotted in training alongside the likes of Sambi Lokonga. So how much of kind of a boost is this to the Arsenal side for this game?
I think from a talent perspective, you can make the argument that we have our full squad, full strength, everybody's back. And yes, I would say full strength because Arteta doesn't have the option of choosing Granit Xhaka this week. So we are at full strength. And so he can't be coaxed into making a mistake of selecting him in midfield. So it should be a boost to the manager, to the team, and to the fans that we have our best players available. Like I said, Tom, now it comes down to execution. Can they do the job? Can he set them up right? Can he, put a good tactical plan together for every scenario of the game, whether we're 0-0, whether we're up one early, down one early, and then can they execute? And it really comes down to that. And I'm curious to see now, with all the excuses gone, what the results are going to be.
It's the excuses is the key word, isn't it, King? Because that's something that's come back time after time. And Arteta even himself has begun to reference this whole idea of excuses, not having them anymore, and yet going on to name them in the same press conference, obviously. If we do, say, worst case scenario, Arsenal don't come out with the result that they want against Norwich, what do you think Arteta can even point to at that stage?
I think what we have to realize, whatever we think of Arteta as a manager, he's a very intelligent man. He's well educated. He knows what to say, even though most of the time we don't agree what he's saying, or I don't agree what he's saying. He knows what to say to get the pressure deflected from him onto something else. So I can see, even if let's say we don't win, I could see him say something in the similar like, yeah, we were out there, you could see the improvement, it's a new team, it's a lot of new signings, it's gonna take time, but you can see the process. He will use those kind of words that there's something in there that we could see, but because of there's so many new signings, we have a new team, we have a young team, it's gonna take time. And even though I don't want to use any excuses that we don't need time, but it's part of the process. You can see him say something similar like that. But as a fan, obviously, there's no excuses, There's no time in football. The league, the team, they don't wait for you. You have to be ready. And if you're not ready, then you have to go.
Sasha, Michael Grace in the chat says he wasn't stating excuses, he was presenting facts regarding, obviously, talking about injuries, talking about the positive tests and illnesses that we faced, and the really tough kind of fixture list that Arsenal presented at the start of the season. Do you deviate between the words excuses and facts that he's presenting, or do you think that it's a case of, from my perspective, I look at those games and I go, even with all of those, as Matthew's saying, saying they're facts, I still struggle to see, like, I would have expected more from what was in those teams that did start those games.
Yeah, but you can't forget if a team loses their best players. I mean, look at what happened to Liverpool. I know they still finished fourth last year, but they were expected to win the title again. And if you don't have your best players, you're not gonna be the same team. You're not gonna play the same way, have the same results. So for me, it is excuses because it's not just excuses. Sorry, but it later on becomes excuses if the problem isn't sorted out, if the problems don't get sorted out. So injuries is something else because it can just be unlucky, but that's why we have the whole squad. So from now on, if we go out now and we win and we get injuries, I wouldn't accept us to just lose then just because we get injuries then. But for the first part of the season, I mean, look at who we had out. No one was ready. But then again, I can also say why were we in this place in the first place? Why weren't we ready? But it happened. It's in the past now. I mean, it was three really tough games, and other teams still have to play them 3 games. So we got it out of the way at least. Brentford might not be that hard of a game, but considering, of course, it was their first game back, it was for home fans, and so take it with a pinch of salt. But I'm hoping at from the next 5 games in the fixtures we have, I'm expecting at least 13 points, 4 wins and a draw, at least. Otherwise, otherwise the Arteta out is gonna come back, and the pressure is gonna be even more, and the fans are gonna start turning, and those type of things. But I actually I think it's possible. I don't think it's like impossible for us to get 13 points of the next 5. I think it's possible, definitely, with especially with all our players coming back now. So I think we might last year when we had all our players back, we won the game. So who knows?
Who knows, indeed. I mean, we did a prediction show and talked about kind of the next 6 games, and I predicted that we get 13. I think it was 13 points from the next out of 18 is what I thought we would get. We'll see if that comes out. We'll see if that's good enough to keep him in the job, if that is indeed what happens. But there's going to be a lot of pressure on Arteta, that's for sure. Now, we're going to go into the guys' predictions. Before we do, though, let's just point you back in the direction of our partners, FansBet, before we go into those for the game of the week. Our friends over at FansBet have a totally free play-to game this weekend in the Premier League. Simply enter by going to the link in the description. You have a chance of predicting the outcome of games and winning up to £10,000 in free bets. Terms and restrictions apply. Full details are on the site. 18 plus and more. Do gamble online responsibly by going to gambleaware.org as well. But without further ado, let's go into our predictions. Sasha, we're going to start not with you. We're going to start with Zamir. It's because it was on the screen before we started and I flipped it back. Zamir, talk us through your team, mate.
Yeah, I think strictly speaking about the players on the pitch now, Tom, if we're going to turn our season around or take anything away from the season, Aubameyang has to start firing. I am a huge Lacazette fan. I think he's very underrated, but I find myself questioning whether he would be as motivated with 1 year left on his contract. But Aubameyang, we know he's here for at least 1 year, maybe 2. And he's our captain. If there's anyone who can get us backfiring, it has to be him. So he leads the line. In midfield, I've gone for Lokonga, Partey, and ESR simply because I think that balance is going to be very good when it comes to switching between 3 at the back and 4 at the back. And then they press really, really well. All 3 of them. I think Lokonga's positioning is in the Chelsea game was excellent. He was staying in between the center backs. He was pushing up when he need to. He can ping those balls between the lines, and he can play that kind of disciplined role. And then Thomas Partey and ESR speak for themselves. I mean, quality on the ball, can drive the ball forward, can pass the ball forward into those channels. And then Odegaard and Pepe are on the wings for me. Odegaard and Pepe, to me, with Aubameyang, have a free role. So they can move central, they can move right, left, kind of dictate the game and the press from the front. So that from an attacking standpoint, that's what I have. And then defensively, I've gone for Tierney, Gabriel, White, and Tomiyasu. I mean, I think Tomiyasu has to start. He's the guy we picked to play the right back position. He's the guy we signed, and no better, Norwich are not Man City. And so no better time to put him in than now. Ben White and Gabriel, athletic, again, decent speed in the back line, can play that high line, high press. And then Tierney, I know I struggled, and I was really debating between him and Tavares, but I think Tierney has to try and regain his form. And so I think this would be a good game. And then Ramsdale in goal over Leno. I'm not convinced by the way Leno has started the season. I am concerned about his form. So Ramsdale starts for me.
Now, you have been questioned in the chat by Sam, who says, no Saka. Zamir, what's that about?
So, Tom, I think Saka's played a lot of games, and he does need a break. He looks knackered. I mean, look at those first 3 games he played. he wasn't quick, he wasn't sharp, and I know we love Saka, but I don't think he's very crucial to the starting 11. Having Saka and Lacazette come off the bench is a really strong bench in my opinion, and I don't think this 11 is an 11 that would lose to Norwich.
Mm.
So to me, I would have rested Saka the first 3 games of the season if we were ready at the beginning of August, but obviously we're not. So we have to play him. I think he does need a rest, and anywhere we can get him, a break in between or coming off the bench while he kind of recovers is going to be better for him in the long run.
Absolutely. King, let's go to your lineup. Talk us through your 3-5-2 formation.
Yes, I was tempted to go with a 4-3-3, but then I felt it wouldn't be fair to Lokonga to play as a 6. I don't feel like we cover him enough in Arteta's system. So, and also I thought that we have a lot of new players who haven't played with each other. So Tomiyasu White and Gabriel have never played with each other. So this is the reason why I went with a 3-5-2 formation. I think that it's important that we get a good partnership with Gabriel and White. I was tempted to play Tierney, but I do think he needs a rest just for like a game. With Smith Rowe, I also feel like he's been sick almost the whole week, so I'd rather have him rested as well and coming from the bench. So I think I want to see Odegaard in that 10 role. I want to see what he can do. I think Norwich is a good team to play against. I want Pepe to be near to goal. I see him more as a wide forward than a wide winger. So I think he's one of the best finishers we have in the club. We need him near to goal. We've seen him play more as a wide forward when he was at Lille. So, and we have all said that we want to see changes from Arteta. We've said that we want that. So, let's see if a 3-5-2 can be something. I don't expect him to play this team. I expect him to play Tierney and maybe Ainsley on the bench and Tomiyasu as a wing back, maybe. But I do think that we need to try and do something different to what we've done before.
Let's go then to Sasha's team.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see we all have Ramsdale starting. Yeah, I think there's no better game for him to get his first Premier League game for Arsenal than Norwich. No disrespect, obviously, they're gonna want to win as well. But I think Leno has had 3 horrible games. So if Ramsdale comes in, I think he should be given 3 games as well, and then after his 3 games, assess who's the better player at the current stage. I think Leno should be moved to the cup goalkeeper and not Ramsdale. So Tomiyasu, I hope he makes his debut, of course. White and Gabriel are our best centre backs shortly. Tierney, I know he might be tired, but I'll still play him. I think we need him. I think he makes such a difference for us. I think we're gonna we're gonna. I think we might even struggle in the game if Tierney doesn't play. Then Partey, of course. Then Ainsley. I want to see Ainsley given a chance. I think he deserves a chance in midfield for us. I would never expect Arsenal to play Ainsley ahead of Xhaka because that's, of course, how they logic and reason. But now Xhaka's gone. Now there's a
Are you with us, Sasha? I think you're cutting out again. If you can hear us, we're going to try and get Sasha back in there. I mean, Zamir, just quickly, while we're waiting for Sasha to come back in, do you think it is interesting how we've all gone for Ramsdale?
Yeah, I think Arteta will stick to his guns. I think Leno will start. But I do agree that most of the fan base wants to see Ramsdale now. Again, I think it comes down to Tom wanting to see change, right? We're sick of seeing the same players. We've thrown all of these players under the bus over and over again. Arteta's spent what 24 million pounds on Ramsdale, so the fan base are saying, if you paid that much for him, he's a proven keeper in your eyes. Start it, play him. Let's see what he's got. Right, he deserves a chance at least.
Let's move on to my team. I like King and Sasha. I went for a back three as well. So Zamir, I'm afraid you're on your own with that one. But it's interestingly talking kind of the areas in which I think Arsenal can really kind of get at Norwich is using our strength at the wide positions, seeing the combination play of our wing backs and the attacking midfielders behind the striker. I haven't gone with Tomiyasu. I think I'm the only one that hasn't gone with him, mainly down just because I think for the system at the moment and trying to work out whether Tomiyasu can play into kind of a right wing back role, we'll have to wait and see. But just while we kind of figure out how Tomiyasu is going to fit into the team, I've gone with White, Gabriel and Tierney. I like Tierney playing that left centre back role in the back three. I think it doesn't hinder his ability to go forward. I think it just means you have one of Partey or Lokonga that drops in while he pushes forward. Smith Rowe can then tuck inside if he needs to. But mainly it's the relationship between the wing back and the attacking midfielder on both sides. We've talked about this quite a lot with Saka pushing up on the left-hand side, Smith Rowe cutting those inverted passes back to him in 1-2 triangles. And on the other side, you've got Maitland-Niles overlapping Ødegaard with those cutbacks coming from him as well. You've got those two midfielders to kind of produce that sweeping position in front of the back three. And we know that White played on the right-hand side of a back three for Brighton quite a lot during his time last season. It's where they see him kind of as an England international in the future, taking over from that Kyle Walker role that's played in that right wing back, the right centre-back position as well. There's a lot of potential from what Arteta's got available to him. And I think all of us have interestingly put Aubameyang up top. Maybe that's something to do with Lacazette just simply not really being in the minds of us anymore. We think back to some of the predictions that we had for teams last season. A lot of people were putting Lacazette over Aubameyang for form, but this season it's completely flipped once again. Perhaps that's due with the contract. Perhaps that's simply down to the form of both players. But there's lots still to discuss, including getting our team's predictions, of course. But before we do get those predictions, finally to wrap up with our last promotion of the show, FansBet have given us an enhanced odds bet. Please do go make sure you check them out in the link in the description to get your welcome offer. In addition to finding out a lot more about our associated charity Sport in Mind, which you can also find out with the links in the description. But our partners over at FansBet have set us up with an exclusive fan boost for this weekend's game just for you. If Arsenal score in both halves, that was at 2.4, but they've boosted it all the way up to 3 now. So make sure you take advantage of that by clicking the link in the description. Limited time only. Terms apply. Full details on site. Max stake £10. 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly and visit gambleaware.org for more info. And do also check out the FansBet responsible gambling tools. All of the information will be there. Let's go and get our guys' predictions and yours in the chat box as well. Right, King, I'm coming to you first. I want your prediction for the game tomorrow. What are you going for?
I'm going for 3-1 Arsenal. I would love a clean sheet, but I think that's something that we've struggled with this season. We're probably going to see a new partnership at the back. It's going to take time before they be comfortable with each other. But I can see us scoring goals. I hope Oba will score. I hope Pepe will score. So 3-1 Arsenal for me.
Zamir?
I'm going to go 1-0 to the Arsenal. I think it's going to be a cagey game. I think there's a lot that we have to figure out on the pitch, but I think we're good enough to win it. And I think we'll snatch a winner somewhere late in the game.
I am going to go myself with the always optimistic 5-0 to the Arsenal. I'm just loving optimism right now. It's great. I just love being a hypocrite at times and just, criticizing where it's worthy of criticism. But when it comes to a new game, we're bringing the optimism back hard. And I'm completely naive is what I am.
You don't say.
Is what I am. Is just completely naive. In the chat box, I'm seeing a lot of people joining the naive crew as well.
Yeah,
Matt Thornton says 2-0. Hugh says 4-0. Jeffrey free with a more measured 2-1 Arsenal. Matt G, 4-0 to the Arsenal. Sam says 3-0. Michael says, I think it's going to be a tough game, but win 2-1. Sasha has joined us in the chat box. I think he's having connection issues, but thank you, Sasha, for tuning in as always, mate. And we appreciate your 4-0 prediction. Loving you joining the naive crew. Fraser says, we want 6. We want 6. Deep has given him 6 by going for a 6-0 prediction. Just to close out the show, King, seeing the euphoria is the word I would use from the chat box after 3 successive defeats. Are you surprised with the positivity that we're seeing?
I am surprised, but it's also understandable because of, number one, we are playing Norwich. Number two, we've had a lot of players out that now will be available. And if we cannot score a lot of goals against Norwich, who are we actually going to score a lot of goals against? So I understand it. But also, I saw a tweet that Lokonga have not trained with Arsenal.
He trained today.
He did train today. Okay. Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yes, just to put your nerves at ease there in case you're worried about Lokonga. Zamir, equal question. Are you surprised at the optimism coming from the chat box today?
No, I mean, we live in hope, Tom. That's what we do. I mean, we can go five games on the trot and lose, and we'll come back and still predict we're going to win the next game, and that's what supporting the club is all about. Sometimes you just got to keep positive even in the darker times. So I think, like King said, we've got our players back. The players that, Arteta has options now. The hope is that the manager selects the right players, and when those players are on the pitch, as one legendary player always says, when they cross that white line, they've got to execute. Shout out to Kevin Campbell, and they've got to execute. And the hope is that these guys are good enough to do that. And so stay positive. I think the positivity is well warranted, and hopefully it doesn't change in the next 24 hours. We'll see.
We will see, indeed. It's going to be an interesting game. I think there's a lot of hope, which hopefully does not set us up for a massive fail, but there's always the chance that might happen. I'd just like to take a chance to thank my guests today. First of all, to Sasha. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to finish off the show because of classic 2021 streaming problems. But we do appreciate you, Sasha, coming on, and we heard your prediction earlier on as well, which you gave us a 4-0. Enjoying the naive crew. Zamir, absolute pleasure to have you on. Tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at NYCGooner34 or on the Discord server if you sign up to be an expert member. I am definitely a lot less positive on the Discord. I will say that outright. But on here, I try to be as neutral as possible and as analytical as possible. So thanks for having me on, Tom. It's good to be on after a bit.
No problem at all. Sasha, do you want to say goodbye to everyone? Oh, we can't hear you now. It's all gone wrong. So for some reason, we can't hear you, Sasha. Don't worry about it. We've said goodbye for you. King, always a pleasure, mate. Always a pleasure. Give us a thumbs up, Sasha. There you go. Go on, King.
Yeah, I mean, it was another great stream again. Thanks for having us on, Tom. Honestly, we love this content. It's a very nice gesture. You can find me here sometimes. You can definitely find me in the Discord. I like to bring up topics. And you can find me also on a charity channel called Asfeatly TV. That's where you find me, guys.
Absolutely. That has been the Gooner Talk preview show, partnered by FansBet, and of course, helping to support some amazing work done by Sport in Mind. Please do go check out the links in the description to find out more about how you can support the charities by having a little bit more fun during the games as well. Our welcome offer is in the description, so please do go and have a look at that. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow morning for the 8 a.m. show as per. I'd like to take a chance again to thank my amazing panel. Chat box, you've been amazing as always, and thank you for getting involved. Plenty of you throwing in some really kind comments as you always do. Enjoy the game tomorrow, and if we don't see you tomorrow morning, I hope you have a fantastic Saturday and of course weekend. We'll see you again very, very soon, and as always, up the Arsenal.